Hey everyone, my name is Charlie, and this is Charlie,
Hello,
and
people.
welcome to It's a Charlie Thing. Today, we are somewhat bleaker given the state of the weather. Last week it was all snow, and it was winter wonderlands, and everything was amazing. Today it is grey, it is rainy, and what do we have in store for them, Charlie?
We have got some exciting things. So we're going to be going through some recommendations that I found from the lovely Harriet Tyce, someone who's currently on the UK season of the Traitors. She's also a crime writer. We've got 5 recommendations to go through of that. We're also going to be talking about the January blues and how it's affecting us or not.
Very appropriate given what I just said about the sky.
It is. Yeah, it is very appropriate. Then we're going to be going through, as a result of the January blues, we're going to be going through some comfort reads to try and make you all feel a bit better if you are feeling the January blues. And so there are personal recommendations. And then after that, we're going through our currently reading and then finish with a happy moment that we've both had from the week.
Yes, and I've always said I have put a little bit of a spin on my happy moment this week, a little bit of a twist, but if
Can't wait to
anyone
hear
knows
that.
my hometown, I'm imagining you can figure out immediately what the happy moment might be. Anyway, Charlie,
I
let's.
know your hometown and I still can't work it out.
I'm sure you'll. Anyway, we will see.
After we had from last week's podcast episode, we got some recommendations of movies that are coming out, and I forgot to talk about. So we've obviously got Hamnet, which has just come out here in the UK. I can't believe I forgot to talk about that because that's starring Paul Mescal and Jessie Buckley, both of whom I'm obsessed with. I love both of those people, those actors. So I can't believe I forgot to mention that, obviously based on the Maggie O'Farrell book, which I loved. And then we've also got Remarkably Bright Creatures, which is out, which is a book that was one of my best books of the year last year.
I didn't know they made a film out of this.
Yes, well, this is in the comments. So this has been coming out May 8th this year, which I'm now even more excited for. I did not know that was a thing. So there probably are more movies. So keep letting us know what movies are coming out, people. We love hearing from you what book to movie adaptations you're excited for, because that's like so fun to see.
As I keep saying, they just get added to my never-ending list of films that I intend to watch and then never get around to.
Yeah, totally.
It's like there was an article in a newspaper at the weekend that was talking about how the decade-long wait between series of The Night Manager wasn't worth it. And I hadn't realised it had been a decade since the first series.
I need to watch that.
That's like, again, that was on the list of things to watch. And I've just, forgotten it. 10 years have passed. Did I notice the 10 years? Nope.
Is it Tom Hiddleston?
That's the one.
Is the main star, yeah. So now we're going to... Well, there you go then. And let us know if you thought it was worth the wait. We'll go on to Harriet's recommendation. So I was on Instagram. I love the Traitors. You guys know I'd been talking about this. The whole country is obsessed in the UK, especially. I think there's so many versions across the whole world, though. So let us know if in your country, if you've watched your version of it, because I would still want to know all that. So Harriet is one of the current, can you say contestants? The people that was on the show? Anyway.
Yeah, you can say contestant.
I don't know if that's right or not. So she is a crime author who she's got quite a backlist of books that she's written. Her new book, The Witch Trial, is out 26th of February. I wanted to note that here. I was on Instagram, like I said, and her recommendation, she's got a list of recommendations for people that love the Traitors, bookish recommendations. And I thought that would be a good thing to start off this week's pod with, to talk through her recommendations. So are you interested, Charlie? I want to see which books you've read.
She wants to call me out immediately. Charlie wants to call me out immediately because before we started this, I said, I'm not really interested. I don't watch the Traitors. I've yet to read Harriet Tyce, so I'm not sure what my reaction will be. But
you might be interested in these books because there are some cool books on here.
We will see.
And crime isn't like a thing that I often read about, crime and thrillers. So, and you sometimes do double, so we'll see. There is one that we're going to start.
You know I write crime fiction, don't you?
Yes, I know.
Thank you. Let's just say I don't just dabble in.
Also, Charlie writes brilliant cozy crime. So if you're in the market for some cozy crime, check out Charlie's books. Links in the description. So the first book we're gonna go through is one that I've already read and one that I know you've read. It's fairly certain. I say that. No, you have read it. I know you've read it. It's And Then They Were Numb by Agatha Christie.
I haven't read it.
You've not read Charlie has read so much Agatha Christie. It's crazy.
Yeah, Agatha
Christie
way
more than me.
Is a favourite writer of mine. I have watched various adaptations of And Then There Were None, but I've yet to read it.
Oh, so you know the story already then.
Of course, it's a great story. The thing with And Then There Were None is that so many TV shows, so many other contemporary writers, ever since this book came out, have all created their own version of this book. And so, regardless as to whether you've read the actual original text, you are likely to have come across this tale before.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just that the people are stuck on the remote island and they've been picked off one by one for those people that don't know.
And one
It's
that I would definitely recommend in terms of adaptations is Family Guy's And Then There Were Fewer.
Family Guys. Is that Family Guy?
You know Family Guy, the American animated sitcom?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have an adaptation called And Then There Were Fewer.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So I'll be looking out for that one then. Right, the next one is Be My Enemy by Christopher Brookmeyer, which is set in the Scottish Highlands, and it's a team building exercise gone wrong, and it's got like humour in it apparently.
I was going to say, isn't he renowned for writing comic crime?
That sounds something I would read.
Yeah, he's on my list of authors to read one day.
The next book is Brat Farah by Josephine Tay. Josephine Tay is an author. Been thinking, wanting to read her books for such a long time. She's one that lots of people talk about.
I have a couple of her books on my shelf waiting to be read.
This book apparently is no one being who they seem to be, and it's about with lies and treachery, as well. I think of all these recommendations.
Wow, a crime novel that's about lies and treachery. Revolutionary.
Darling, don't be naughty. Right.
I'm not being naughty. I'm just being honest.
Yes, you are.
I'm being honest.
Okay. Then there's one that I've heard about a lot before, but it's one I don't know, I've never been drawn to, but when Harriet talked about it, it's made me intrigued. The book I'm talking about is Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy by the classic John le Carré. And this is a Secret Service-y kind of thing. So it's hunt to find a mole at the heart of the British Secret Service. It's how she talked about them all. I was like, suddenly I was like, oh, I wasn't interested before. I am now.
That one is another classic in the genre. And I had it recommended to me probably about 20 years ago now. All of my recommendations came when I was a teenager, and like older readers in my life, seeing that I was an impressionable person, would just give me all these recommendations. But that one was recommended not just because of its subject matter, but because of the prose as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that books that have been around for a long time and that if they're still being recommended, they've obviously stood the test of time potentially. So like this is why I am actually intrigued by this one. Then lastly is the one I'm actually sorry to finish on the kind of one, but it's one I'm the least excited for. It's Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough. And this is meant to be a gothic book with crazy characters, betrayal and treachery. And this is one that when I first started BookTube in 2018, loads of people, Sarah Pinborough was talked about quite a lot. I've just never been drawn or interested by her books before.
That's what I was going to say, was again another popular writer, but is also an author similar to, I can't remember which writer it was last week, but in the charity shop, when we get Sarah Pinborough's books in, she is a quick sell.
Oh, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
And the thing I forgot to mention about Harriet, because of her appearing on the Traitors, her book sales have gone up 96%. 96% according to stats. 96% since she started the show.
Maybe I should go on the show.
There you go then, Charlie.
Do you think you'd have to watch it first?
Yeah, I mean, it might help a bit. But then sometimes I think when you watch shows, it actually makes it worse for you because sometimes, I don't know.
Yeah, do you have to have any knowledge about the way that show works?
I mean, I don't know. It wouldn't probably hurt. Maybe watch an episode.
The only issue I've got is like, I wouldn't mind going and spending my time in a castle.
Yeah.
It's the having to interact with other people.
Yeah, it's the people element.
Yeah, like if I could just hide away in the room for like the 3 weeks it happens, then yeah, great. But if I've got to actually interact with people and do things, ugh.
That won't work, Charlie.
No,
it's a social game.
I'd want to turn up with like one of my big books, just like lounge on a chaise lounge.
I mean, you might be able to do that between filming times because they're not filming 24 hours a day. Like Harriet did bring a book with her. She did say, because it was the one that she said she brought with her and read in the castle was Brat Farah. So there you go. So moving swiftly on, should we go into the rest of our
We could do. I'm just envisaging myself in a castle right now, so we probably should just move away from this situation entirely.
I would want to be in a castle. Holidaying in a castle might be fun, especially if you're being looked after and being fed for,
Oh, you want to be.
waited on hand and foot like a queen.
I don't even want that.
I
I,
do.
I don't even want that. I literally would be in that castle on my
Locked in a
own.
dungeon. You want to be locked in the dungeon, Charlie.
I mean, I'm not that kinky.
Because you can imagine you in the basement whilst everyone's
Wow.
on the top of the.
This is a problem. This is a problem. Like, you've just likened yourself to a queen and immediately put me in the dungeon.
Sorry,
How is that fair?
It's not fair.
I
It's
just
not
wanted
fair
to
at
be
all.
in the guest wing somewhere with my
What?
books. Some
You're
tea.
in the farthest tower, like in the
Even the tower's not
farthest.
very good. Look what happened to Anne Boleyn.
I mean, no, you don't want to be in the tower.
No, I don't want to be
I'm
in a
sorry
tower.
to-
I don't want to be in a turret. I don't want any of that. I just
Why
want
don't you just be like in the ground? Like the groundspeople have their
Oh,
own
no, I'm a
building.
groundskeeper. I don't want to be outside, groundskeeper.
I don't know. Like
You are a
I don't.
terrible queen. I'm hoping you get overthrown.
That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. You have to go on the run.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
We
I'm
really need
offended.
to.
Put
we
the
need to-
podcast. I'm out of here.
I put you in the the
You
dungeons.
went
and
from
that's it.
dungeon to tower to groundskeeper.
No, but groundskeeper's
I went from having a
nice.
roof over my
You have
head,
your own room.
albeit like getting eaten by rats,
But
to
groundskeepers
now
have
I've
their
got
own
to
like
be
whole build.
outside cleaning up muck.
You don't have to clean the muck. You can
That's-
like. I'm just saying, you have your own building then.
No.
Your own
No,
castle
thank you.
building.
No, thank
Your own
you.
your special own turret.
Treat me like the Queen Mother. Give me a cottage in the grounds and just
That's what I
make sure
meant.
that
I
I
should have
never have
done
to
that.
see you.
I should have done that. I'm sorry,
Because
Charlie.
now I'm offended.
You are offended. I'm so sorry.
Wow.
So shall we go on? Speaking of going for offended, shall we go to January Blues?
Well, I'm feeling particularly blue after being told to go and lie in the dungeon. So
there you
yeah.
go then. That's the perfect segue then. It would have been Blue Monday as of yesterday. The 19th of January is Blue Monday. So are you feeling the January Blues, Charlie? How do you combat it? What are your thoughts on the January Blues? Is this a real thing or is this a myth?
I think it can be a thing for some people. And I completely understand how people end up feeling that type of way, because I think a lot of people go into January with these expectations about themselves. You've just had a really big festive period, and if you've been lucky, then it's been filled with frivolity, it's been filled with parties. If you work in a certain type of environment, you might have had 2 weeks off where you made big promises to yourself. You got to reconnect with family and all of that. And now it's just back to the everyday and the drudgery, which is what you had promised yourself that you weren't going to go back into.
Yeah.
So I can
people
understand
breaking.
why certain type of people feel a certain type of way about it. 10 years ago, when I was going through the period of unfathomable sadness, that occurred from like December all the way through to April. So I got to experience it in a January, but I wouldn't have called that particularly January blues. I can understand it, but I've combated it by treating every day as it comes, and you don't look too far ahead. You don't come up with all of these aspirations. You just take it day by day, and like, if you haven't achieved what you wanted to on that day, you don't beat yourself up about it. You just
100%.
think, you just decide, well, tomorrow. And it's not a case of tomorrow never comes. I think we give ourselves too many expectations when we become too hard on ourselves.
I agree.
And I think that we fail to recognize life happens, things get in the way, and we can't predict how each day is going to take us.
Yeah, 100%. I was in the library. They've got this section, like self-help books that are like being advertised and promoted at the moment. And the tagline, the thing at the top was New Year, New You. And I hate that. I literally hate that so much. That's where I think we beat, like you said, we beat ourselves up. Because like you said, we've got December is like we're going from 100 miles an hour to January. It's suddenly a lot slower, and people are putting expectations on themselves. Like you said, you shouldn't have New Year, New You. You are fine. I want to tell, if you're listening to this, you are fine. There's nothing wrong with you. Like, we don't need to do New Year, New You. You, as you are listening to this, are fine. Like, you might not be fine, but you shouldn't try and change yourself because it's the start of a new year.
A friend of mine recently shared this whole thing online as well, that the winter months, like, the world is asleep. you know?
Yeah, and that's okay. And
And
that's okay.
if you want to take that time to rest and recover and recuperate, that's perfectly fine. And that, springtime comes. It's a natural time for rejuvenation and that sort of thing. And I think that that's maybe it's a whole living in hope, dying in despair scenario. But, you know, spring.
One of our guests that's going to be hopefully on the podcast, our first guest actually, I know is a big person that advocates all of this, the wintering
Yeah.
and like it's just time to like really push for self-care. Like I think rather than trying to add things on your plate, you should take things off your plate just to be a bit gentle on yourself in the new
Wow.
year. We don't need to do new year, new us. We're quite we're the fantastic Charlies that we are, so we don't need to change that.
Well,
do
no,
we?
I'm perfectly content to be New Year old me,
Let's chuck out the resolutions and bring in the things that build us up rather than the things that are
Is this
trying
just
to
your
like knock us down.
continuation from last week of trying to defend that you made goals?
I didn't make goals, Tom. Right. Shall we go in to things that bring us comfort?
Before we get into comfort reads, I've recently been going through my shelves because, as Charlie knows, as a few people know, we're going to be having a bit of building work in this house. So I've got to box up all of the books in my room. And in doing that, I'm also discovering books that maybe I've not read in a while, that maybe I kept meaning to get to and I'd forgotten about, that sort of thing that I thought one day I'd want to reread. And then that moment's never come around. And one of those books was Furiously Happy by Jenny Lawson, which for years had been this comfort book of mine that anytime I'd felt any sort of sadness or anxiety, I would go to Furiously Happy because it was nice to have this sensation that there was somebody who'd gone through exactly what you were going through and come out the other side. And so many humorous anecdotes, so many parts where I'd read it and been in hysterics, sat in the living room having people look at me like, have you actually lost the plot? Because that is the way the book took me. Similar to 84 Charing Cross Road, which I read at the start of the year, that spent many years being the first book that I would read every single year. And I think it was a great way to kick off the year. I hadn't got any expectations on my reading then, and I had finished a book that I had enjoyed, and I didn't need to find the best book because I knew that I enjoyed it. Cut to one year where I felt like I don't need to read this book because I'm not feeling that type of way. It's also been now probably about 7 years since I read the book or felt the need to read that book. It's had me questioning in terms of a home library, in terms of having things on my shelves. Do I want my home library to be a shrine to things that I've enjoyed in the past? Do I want it to have all of these books on the shelf that could be future favourites? Or do I want it to be representative of the reader that I am right now? Because if it was representative of the reader I am now, there's probably over 100 books that I could get rid of. But
That's a really good
I've
point.
tied specific memories to specific books.
I have.
And then I feel like with the Jenny Lawson in particular, do I keep that book with the expectation that one day I might feel the need to reach for that again?
That's a really
So
interesting point, Charlie.
it's been an odd one in terms of the library this week, trying to figure out what I want to keep, what I want to remove. And this book spent such a long time being like the saving grace, the savior if anything felt bad or sad. In terms of comfort reads, just grabbing that off the shelf and just reading it cover to cover and enjoying my time with it. It's been an odd one trying to cultivate the comfort reads this week, because looking at this book and thinking, well, you were for a long time, but I don't know whether you are anymore or whether you will be again.
Yeah, let everyone listen. If you're listening, you want to comment on that. Let us know your thoughts on is your library a reflection of who you were, who you are currently, or maybe a bit of a mixture of the two? Because I feel like I'd like to have a bit of a mixture of the two.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the best balance. You have made me want to go back through my shelves though. I desperately need to go through. Maybe 2026 is going to be the year that I just make my shelves into a tea library instead of a book library. We'll see.
Goodness me, wow. If anyone was going to have a tea library, it would be you.
I really wanted to. I feel like I've got one in the cupboard, really.
No,
But
but that's why I'm saying I can just see you expanding everything to all those shelves where your books currently are.
and then just have them as just pots because I've got like that's a whole lot of tangent people don't need, but I've got because obviously you have tea caddies or you have like the boxes. If they get upgraded to a tea caddy, you know it's a good tea that you're regularly. So yeah, but I can make the move to filling the shelves with tea caddies.
I just find
But
it hysterical how for the third week in a row, we have got more receptacles for Charlie to put stuff in. We've had boxes of happiness. We've
yeah,
had
I
boxes
mean, tea is a box of happiness, I would argue.
boxes of books and now tins of tea.
Yeah,
Yeah,
these are the things that bring me joy.
just putting things in boxes.
I mean, maybe.
You could become a removal man.
I think I'd hurt my back, Charlie. I'm not the strongest of
Oh,
folks, and my joints, I saw what I say, but I'm gonna talk about something about that in a minute.
you should get a job on
Uh,
Deal or No Deal. I think my tangent about Furiously Happy is a good segue into our comfort reads. So, what do you have on your list of comfort reads, Charlie?
First one I'm gonna start with is it's the poetry pamphlet, 10 Poems of Happiness, and these poetry pamphlets by Candlestick Press, I get given these as presents. My lovely friend Jack gifts these instead of birthday cards, which is a good thing I want to recommend people to do. Poetry in general does make me happy. Candlestick Press poems are a good little comfort to me. And on this one that I'm holding up, specifically the 10 Poems of Happiness, is covered in sunflowers. I've mentioned this multiple times. I love sunflowers. So this was a perfect pick. My proper recommendation I'll talk about is Small Joys by Elvin James Mensah. This is a book that I recommend. I cannot stop recommending it. But it is a comfort to me, and I can't. It's like you with Emotionally Weird. It's one that I regularly read because of the fact that even though it's not actually like a cozy book, because this book. So for those people that don't know, Small Joys by Elvin James Mensah is a book. At the beginning of the book, we meet Harley, who is battling with his mental health. He's in a really low spot. In fact, there are content warnings in this book for mental health things. But it's about friendship in its purest form. It's just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous characters. And Harley meets Muddy, who is this Mancunian birdwatcher. Muddy is one of my favourite bookish characters of all time. But even in this book now, since rereading it and rereading it over and over again, every time I reread it, I get more things out of it. And specifically the mental health stuff, how Harley talks about his mental health. It has brought me comfort when I've been feeling very low. I just loved Elvin James Mensah's writing. As I said in December, Elvin's got a new book out in July or June, July time. So, which I'm very, very excited for. So, this is a comfort read for the character of Muddy and also the friendships. It's got a wonderful cast of characters here. It's got real great positive recommendation of male friendships. I just love, 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 love it. And it's one I'm always going to recommend. So that's my first sort of two-ish comfort reads, Charlie. What is your first book, Charlie?
For me, I'm going with the obvious straight away, and that is Emotionally Weird by Kate Atkinson. This is a book that I read 4 times last year. I did that specifically because I think in terms of my shelves, I would rather have a small number of books that I regularly return to than have loads of unread books that could be possible favourites. Emotionally Weird is an odd one. I can understand why so many people don't actually like this book. There is this huge metafiction aspect to it. There's probably an unreliable narrator because a woman called Effie and her mother are on an island, and you're told at the beginning that Effie's mother is not her mother, but her mother also won't reveal anything about her history. She just tells her that she's named for an auntie who drowned. And then we go back to a few months prior. Effie is telling her mother the story of how she came to be where she is. Her mother will interject into the story and say, no, this is too many characters. That character's not important. And so Effie will cut things and change the narrative. Or at one point, her mum doesn't like the fact that somebody might have met an unfortunate end. So Effie goes all the way back to the start of the previous chapter and rewrites it so that that doesn't happen. Apparently, Kate Atkinson really likes the reader to be aware that what they're reading is fiction, and you get that a lot with this. At the same time, I really like Effie's character voice. And when I was younger, if I really liked a book, I would regularly reread it. And I spent a long time as an adult trying to find a book that would do something similar for me. And I found that with Emotionally Weird. Yes, I don't read it every weekend like I would read my favourite books as a child. But maybe, well, I read it 4 times last year, so it's probably every 3 months I get the hankering to reread it. Similar to what you just said about Small Joys, when I first started rereading it, I would find something new every single time. Now I'm rereading it and thinking, oh, that's how you found out who this character was. Or, oh, I remember when I didn't realize who this person was or why they were important. And yeah, I really enjoy my time with this one. And it is comfort and it is comfortable because you know that you enjoy the story. Nothing happens in the first 60 pages of this book. Absolutely. Like, the most that happens is that Effie walks to a lecture at her university. She's on a creative writing course. She's failing at life because, she's living in like a bedsit situation with this stoner, and she's not completing any of her assignments. She's got a Middlemarch essay that she keeps trying to write. No, she's not Middlemarch. I think is she Henry James? She might be Henry James. 60 pages. All that's happened is that they're sat in this little classroom and people just keep entering the room and she just keeps talking about it. And it's, I think that it's utterly mundane and still, and I really enjoy it.
I do like books that have. I don't need books with all plots, as long as I like the characters
Yeah.
or the writing.
I'd
And
say
also, like with plotless books, sometimes there are just these brilliant sentences that you can go back through and highlight. And this is what I really, now I'm in my highlighting era. I really want to go back and highlight Small Joys because I haven't actually gone through and highlighted it. So, and then possibly then it will give me an excuse to buy myself another copy. Next
Right.
one is one, again, I don't think you'd be surprised about this. These are all going to be, these are like my most reread books.
I
Can
think
you
that
guess which one I'm going to say?
I can't guess which one you're going to say, but I'm just thinking, new listeners might not know.
Oh, that's true. New listeners might not know. So I'm going to hold up the copy. It's Cemetery Boys by Aidan Thomas. I love this book. This is a fantasy sort of this romance slash adventure slash. It's a very difficult one to be defined. It sort of crosses different genres, and it's also got like magical realism in it as well. So we've got our main characters, Yadriel and Julian. At the beginning of the book, these two characters meet in a graveyard. Basically, an adventure ensues, and also a romance eventually ensues. It's very obvious, like I said, that this is the main plot point. I love, love, love this book so much. The characters, the adventure. It's I feel like it's quite an easy read, but it does tackle these deeper themes of identity and grief. There's so many little things that are in here that I just love, and it's just one of my favorite books of all time. I love listening to the audiobook. I highly recommend the audiobook of this. It's one I will just constantly reread over and over again, and it brings me great comfort whilst also being a fantastic read. So that's that.
My next one is one that we've talked about quite recently, and that is Hogfather by Terry Pratchett.
Yeah.
I feel like any Terry Pratchett could really fit in here, but I haven't revisited any of them apart from Hogfather. That's the one that for at least 2 years now I've listened to / this Christmas I read it. I just enjoy the tale. I enjoy Terry Pratchett's humour. I think that he occasionally says quite profound pieces, even though it can only be a throwaway sentence here or a paragraph there. He can encapsulate the human experience, which I think a lot of people do in fantasy, but maybe it's just the fact that it's comic. Maybe it's the characters. Maybe it's because these people, so it's almost like revisiting old friends. I can't explain it, but I really enjoy going to Hogfather. I enjoy the humour. I enjoy the fantasy. I enjoy the scenes in an almost grotto area where Death is just handing out gifts that he really shouldn't be handing out to children. I like the family and the sense of joy that pervades the novel towards the end. And, there is the adventure aspect as well. There is the worry that certain characters might meet their end in this book, but it's a comfort. It's a great one for bleak winter days. And I have, as I mentioned in an earlier episode, I have been considering going out and getting more physical editions of Pratchett's work so that I can read them, either the ones that I haven't yet experienced or the ones that I've experienced in the past, and see how it differs from listening to it. I feel like any Terry Pratchett would work, but in particular, the one that I always go back to is Hogfather.
Yeah, that's a good one. I would back that. Terry Pratchett is definitely a comfort author. I need to read. I feel like 2026 is going to be the year again that I read more Terry Pratchett. I'm not trying to add things to my not goals, but Terry Pratchett is his books are just they do bring comfort. So I think any of the listeners, they're great recommendations. My last set of things I'm going to recommend
Okay.
I say set of things because I've obviously got 2 books in here instead of 1 'cause it's like classics. Because I do think classics can be comforting. The 2 ones I'm gonna pick up are Far from the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy is one of my favourite books as well. It's obviously about Bathsheba Everdeen, the story of her and her 3 suitors, which I just love, love, love this book. It's the only Thomas Hardy I've read apart from his poetry, so I do need to read his other books. I fear they will be a lot bleaker. There is bleakness in this, obviously. Again, it's just these wonderful characters and a really, really good plot. I just love, love, love this. And Gabriel Oak as well. Oh, is one of my favourite characters, as well as Bathsheba Everdeen. That's one of the classics I'm going to recommend as a comfort read. Can I say that's a comfort read? Well, to me, it's a comfort read.
I feel like if it's a comfort to you, then it's a comfort read. I don't think there's a specific sort of book. I feel like comfort reads are different for everybody.
Yeah, because some people, I know there was somebody who I used to watch, like, loved crime and horror books, and they would bring her great comfort. Even when she was like so stressed, they would bring her enormous comfort. Actually, that makes me think of the lovely Philippa. She loves her crime books, doesn't she?
Yes.
The second recommendation I've got is a Sherlock Holmes. Any Sherlock Holmes by Arthur Conan Doyle I love, and specifically the one I'm holding up here is a Pan Macmillan edition. It's A Study in Scarlet. But yeah, I love Sherlock Holmes books. The short stories, especially, they're so easy reads and they're easy to just delve into if you're whatever mood you're feeling. My recommendations of comfort reads. What's your last one, Charlie?
My final comfort read shouldn't surprise anyone because I've already mentioned this author once during our time here, which has only been a short time. And for me, it's The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. This can be the book, it can be the audiobook, it can be the radio play, it can be either of the adaptations, either the film or the classic TV show. I just really like the story. As I mentioned quite a few times now, I got in the mood to write a specific type of book, and I had this idea that Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy was going to be a bit similar in tone and style of what I was envisaging this book to be. So I found the film on whatever streaming platform it was on, and I watched it, and I was right. Sometimes you watch something online and you're like, well, that's always going to be there. That's not the way for me. The way that I know if something's going to be a favourite is if I go out and buy it physically. I ended up getting this one on DVD because I just wanted it to be available whenever I needed it, which is how I came to have the LP of it. It's how I came to have all these different editions of this story just so that I could consume it in any way I wanted to. I
did that with Far from the Madding Crowd. I've got the movie of it.
That doesn't shock
Martin
me.
Sheen in it. Sorry?
That one. Another thing, my dad's a farmer, and one of his farming friends actually had part of Farm from the Madding Crowd, I don't know which adaptation, filmed at his farm. Yeah.
That's very exciting.
Way back when. But yes, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. My family on my mum's side has always been very much into science fiction. It's something that I would bond with, like my granddad and all of that, like big into Star Trek. He was one of the people that introduced me to that and brought up Doctor Who and everything like that. This just had a very nostalgic quality. I was almost sad when I first read it that I didn't get to share it with him and share it with like the people in my family that enjoyed that sort of thing. But at the same time, I was really glad to have discovered it. I do really enjoy just going back and giving my time to those characters and that tale.
That's lovely, Charlie. Do you want to go on to currently reading?
We can do. Would you like to go first?
I've got a few books. Jolly.
Okay.
Okay then. The first one I am going to talk about are There Are Rivers in the Sky by Elif Shafak. I'm still reading it. I've got I'm literally down to the last bit of it. I'm taking my books slowly this year, and I'm actually doing that. So I've been listening to it. I did make a big chunky effort due to one of the things I'll talk about later. This is obviously the tale of 3 characters set over 3 different timelines. They're all connected by this single drop of water. The favourite character for me is, like I've mentioned previously, Arthur, who is the character that is set in Victorian London. His storyline I really, really love a lot, even though the other 2 storylines are we follow Naren in 2014, who is in Turkey, and then we've also followed Zalika, who's in London in 2018. Zalika's story, actually, they're all good. Anyway, I feel like this is a book that I'm going to reread, and there are so many quotable moments in it. I'm listening to it via audio, so I really wish I had a physical copy so I could screenshot my favourite quotes, because that's often what I do. And when I'm listening on audio, I find it harder to remember the quotes that I loved. So I may just go back through and either hunt them because sometimes if you Google, you can find quotes and see whether any of those come up, or I think it's just going to be, I'm going to need a physical copy to draw all over, as becoming my new habit. So yeah, that's one I'm currently reading. The next book I've got to talk about that I've just recently started, I'm only literally 2 chapters in, is H is for Hawk by Helen MacDonald. This is actually being turned into a movie that's coming out this week as you're listening. It's starring Claire Foy. So this is a non-fiction, and it's talking about when Helen lost her father. So ever since she was a child, had this obsession with wanting to own a goshawk. And so it sort of talks about that in the first chapter, and then fast forwards to the moment when she finds out about her father sadly passing away. So I'm fairly certain it's just going to work through all of that. The second chapter is when obviously she has that moment when she finds out, and it's very, very brutal. But it is also, there's a beauty to the writing as well. So I still wanted to read it. Again, I'm not going to rush through this because I don't feel like that would be good for my mental health. It is one I'm excited, air quotes, to read.
That's one that's been recommended to me for years.
Also, it's nature non-fiction, so
Yeah.
as well. So it's the two things. This is like my favorite type of memoir / nature non-fiction is my favorite. This is My Charlie Catnip. That's another one I'm currently reading. The last one is I picked up is one that I spotted in the library that I haven't started reading, but it's like on the planned pile to read, and it's Meditations for Mortals by Oliver Burkeman. Oliver Burkeman is the author of 4,000 Weeks, which is one of his most popular books, and it's again non-fiction, and I think it's like talking about like ways of like utilizing your times, and this is a profound book and liberating crash course into living more fully. It overturns familiar advice and opens a gateway to a saner, freer, and more enchantment-filled life. So it says one day at a time. This is a book that my friend Jack, I'm fairly certain she's read this one, but it's the 4,000 Weeks one that she always tells me to read. But since I saw this one in the library, I picked this one up. We shall see how I get on with it, if I start it or if I don't start it. So what are you currently reading, Charlie?
Well, I'm not currently reading anything because
Okay, what have you been
finished,
reading?
A book last night. So what I will start with is the one I mentioned last week, which is The Duchess of Bloomsbury Street by Helen Hanff. I finished reading that, and as it was a reread, there really isn't much to say. It took me longer than it ought to have done for a 120-page book, but I think that I've had this realization that when it comes to a diary type of book, I really should give myself more time, because the way that they're written, it's not this continuous narrative. So I always feel like I can just dip in and out of it. So I feel like in future, like I do with the Christmas Chronicles, like I've done with other diaries in the past, just have it by the side and then pick it up when I want to and go
like
at it
an
very
ongoing
piecemeal.
project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to read it by a certain time mars the experience of it. But I do like seeing Helen and her experience in London in 1970, whatever. And then I read a book that I feel like you're going to want to discuss with me if we have the time. And that is Leonard and Hungry Paul by William Hetfield.
I'm so excited. Please don't say you hated it. I will
I didn't
cry.
hate it. I actually liked it for what I said I was going to like it for last week. I really enjoyed how quiet this book was. I like that there isn't really any antagonism in this book. There's no fighting. It's really about these two men navigating and struggling throughout their early to mid 30s and how they're living lives that supposedly aren't in keeping with what people expect them to be doing. And I liked what it said about grief. And as you'd said, there are certainly some quotable moments and some almost, again, similar to like Pratchett in that case, they can be a little bit profound and make you think about people's behaviors and the behaviors within families. And Hungry Paul is very, not straight-laced, but straightforward. That's what I mean. Hungry Paul is
Love
very
him so much.
straightforward. He just moves through life, taking it day by day, and doesn't expect too much. And he thinks about everything. I think that's the thing about both of them. I think that they are chronic overthinkers. And
They've got big inner worlds.
yeah, I really enjoyed all of that. It could have gone on comfort reads for me today if I'd reread it. I think I'd have to reread it a few times, which I could see myself doing because I keep telling people about specific scenes from this book, such as the scene in the supermarket with the chocolate box and when Leonard is trying to go on this first date with somebody. And there are moments of humor in here and things that I wanted to revisit because they did have me chuckling. The only issue that I have, and I've been trying to figure out whether I just forget about this issue because of my enjoyment of the book, is that the dialogue just didn't feel realistic.
Okay.
It felt like every single thought that these characters were having, they just put down on the page.
But maybe they
And
just talk out of their head like I do.
I I don't know.
But
It just,
probably not both of them or all of them.
for me, it was just, very, very long paragraphs that these characters were saying to each other. And sometimes it didn't feel like conversations. It felt like this person's saying this and this person's saying this, but they're not necessarily in tandem with each other. Like, that doesn't feel like the response to that. That just feels like the author wants to say this and the author wants to say this.
But people do talk like that, Charlie.
I'm not sure they do. So that was like the one issue I had with it, was the dialogue didn't feel realistic to me. And there were very small moments where the author would remind me that it was a novel, and that would take me out of this story, when they'd go into the present tense, or they'd like talk about you, or they talk about we, and I'm like, I I didn't care for that. But on the whole, I did enjoy the book and would revisit it. So
I want you to watch the TV show now.
I intend to, but I wasn't going to watch the TV show before I'd finished the book.
I'm so excited that you've read it.
And then the final book, in relation to what I'd said about Furiously Happy earlier, I reread The Testament of Mary by Comte.
Oh, okay.
I
You love
can't pronounce that
Coltman.
author's name. My apologies.
I know you love that author, though.
As I say, I reread this one because I was going through my shelves doing this unhaul, and I came across this book that I had forgotten I owned because I previously borrowed a friend's copy after they really enjoyed the book. And this was shortlisted for the Booker Prize in 2013, the year that the Luminaries won. The Testament of Mary is set in the days following Jesus Christ's crucifixion. The reason that I chose to reread this book is because I didn't know whether I wanted to keep it on my shelves. I could remember very much appreciating this narrative when I read it. Again, I ended up reading it in one sitting. I think it's like 102 pages. It's a very short book, and it is a monologue from the perspective of Mary, and talking about how she saw Jesus as her son, as a person. And she's got all of these people there telling her what a great man he was and the miracles that he performed. This version of Mary doesn't like how they're fictionalizing the life of her son. I thoroughly enjoyed it again. Rereading it has meant that I think it's going to end up staying on my shelves.
Oh, that's good.
I don't know how often I will go back to this one, but it reminded me of what I liked about the author's writing. Similar to Ronan Hessian, it's very quiet. There are a couple of moments of violence to emphasize just what was happening and the brutality of what went on, and the way that the behavior of a crowd can really cause opinions to change and that sort of thing. It was a really good book, even for a very short one.
You are
I've got to
storming
go
through
back
the
to it.
books, Charlie. You
Well-
are storming. So this year so far, we're actually picking, that is a goal thing that we are sticking to on our not goals.
Well, at the moment, I've only read one new to me book.
But you've
Everything
reread
else has
stuff.
been
So how many
rereads.
books have you read so far? Not that we're counting, we're not counting, but
I think I've read 5 books. 4 of them were rereads.
that's okay though. And I've only read,
so-
I think I've finished 2. So
But I do want to, as you know, read more from my shelves. So I'm hopeful to read a few of the shorter ones this week before I box up all of my books. And then, whilst we have the builders here, my plan is to just save one big book and just read that whilst they're
that's a good idea. That's a
here,
good
so that I don't have to keep going back and forth to the boxes. Those are the books of the week, Charlie. So I think it's time for us to go into our happy moments. What has been making you happy over the last week?
So my happy moments, I've got a few. Last week I spoke about the fact that I wanted to, my ambition was to try and learn to crochet.
Yes.
So 1 week on, I have learnt to crochet. Well, I'm learning to crochet still. See, now I have actually managed to crochet. So I've got 3 I'm going to show you. I've actually got a pile of 13 downstairs.
Wow.
That I have done. So the first one I'm holding up is a white. These are all got white edges, and then the first one has got like green speckled wool with like a turquoise middle, and then a fluffy purple in the middle.
Oh, she
Like
went
a
fluffy purple. I was going mauve.
fluffy lilac. It's like a fluffy, very light, pale lilac.
Please welcome
It's
to the stage, Fluffy Lilac.
I won't show too many because this is going to be boring for the listeners. But there's two more that I like, and there's one, the last one being, which I'll show you, looks like a sunflower, which obviously, like I said, I love sunflowers, so this is my favourite one.
If you crocheted enough of them, you could make yourself a nice cardigan.
I would want to do that. Maybe that's a plan. But the problem is the granny squares. I've got to make nearly 200 for this blanket. I'm making a blanket for Richard.
Okay.
And I think I worked out because he wants it for the bedspread, as like a bedspread blanket. And unfortunately, our bed is big. We're 2 6-foot tall people. And so it needs to be 14 by 14, which that's 196 squares, Charlie. That's a lot of it. I mean, that's a big math. But
yeah, so by the time you've got to the end of the blanket, you will know how to crochet these so quickly that you would soon have a cardie.
But I don't think I'm going to want to do a cardie of them after I've ventured into doing so many squares. I'll want to do something else because I've already got my mind. I've been learning the terminology as well. So I learned what a whip is. It sounds a bit kinky, but it's true.
Whips and Dungeons. This is your episode getting flagged for Whips and Dungeons.
I mean, maybe that should be the title of the video. Whips and Dungeons. So I've learned about WIPS. And WIPS is, which people that watching this may know this anyway, because apparently Richard knew about this terminology. It's called a work in progress. So WIPS.
Oh, WIP. Yeah, no.
Yes.
Yeah, I generally use that term as well for writing a work in progress.
Which I didn't know this. I've never heard of the word whip apart from.
But yeah, I generally call them WIPs. I've never called them whips. I've never thought of it like that.
Oh, so apparently this is a thing which I didn't know about. So I've learned about and I've been watching Crochet Tube, which is now consuming my days. I've switched BookTube to Crochet Tube. Sorry, I am trying to watch BookTube, but I find watching Crochet Tube very relaxing. Another one of my happy things. There's 2 more things. I found a new show to watch that I wanted to talk to you about. I don't know whether you've seen it. I doubt it because you don't really tend to venture with them.
Thank you. I'm glad that you recognise my lack of watching.
Can You Keep a Secret?
And the Dawn French show.
Yeah, with Mark Heap. It stars Mark Heap, Craig Roberts, and Mandip Gill. Mandip Gill obviously is the star of one of the stars of Doctor Who, the Jodie Whittaker era.
Yeah.
She played Yaz. So obviously this was an immediate draw for me because I love Dawn French, but I love anything to do with Doctor Who, like with actors from Doctor Who, like. Hello, sorry, it just is very easy for me to. Mandip Gill is amazing. She's actually really funny in this as well. There's this show. So this show, we start this show. I don't know. I'm going to tell you about it in case you don't. Have you heard about it?
I've heard about it. I've watched the trailers. I've watched clips. Yeah.
Yeah, and so what it is for those people listening is we start it where Dawn French's character is talking to Craig Roberts' character. She's talking to her son, and he's very, very sad because his father has sadly passed away 2 months ago. He's just about to be put on antidepressants. He's very, very sad, and so she's like, "Why are you sad for?" And then he obviously tells her the secret is that the dad it wasn't dead. He's been living in the loft, and they faked. There's a whole funny story about it, about how they sort of accidentally faked his death.
Yeah.
Mark Heap is brilliant in this. It's so funny. It's only 6 episodes. They're very, very short as well. They're like less than half an hour each. I binge watched it over the weekend, and it was I just loved it. And I hope there's going to be a new series of it. Yeah, the cast is brilliant. Casting's amazing. It's very I feel like you would know what the outcome will be. It's very, very obvious. The plot.
It is on my list. In terms of the novel that I've been writing, the Charity Shop novel, there was this almost like dark comedy to it in that the protagonist has inadvertently ended up involved in some sort of crime, and they seem to be a bit similar in tone. So maybe I should watch it for that to see, because I do like seeing how other writers have done things to inform the way I do things. So maybe I could take a look this week.
I can see as well, like the links, because how the village is it's like a very like a village, village. It's sort of, I think it's then like a village. I can see the links, how it would tie in with your books, especially like I always think obviously about Partridge Mews, and their town does give me Partridge Mews vibes. You'll understand when you watch it. I want you to watch it and talk to me about it next week. So yeah, let me know if anyone that lives in the UK that has seen this. Let us know in the comments, and it's really, really good show, and it does have these like serious themes that it's talking about because the dad has got Parkinson's, but it deals with it. There are moments that are really, really touching and very like not super serious, but there are these like more serious moments.
Right.
But it's just so well. It's another show. I think the BBC is smashing out with them. I just loved it. My last thing is me and my daughter did like our own little sparry thing, and we did these foot masky things, and that was a really fun moment. So I feel like that's one thing I wanted to note. My little moment with Belle, we were doing some self-care and to help us, and it was a nice time with my daughter, some quality time together, watching some telly, I think it was a film we watched, and really, really good. So how about you, Charlie? Let me know about your happy moment from this week.
My happy moment isn't even a happy moment for me, really. It's more of, this time, a community feeling. Completely nothing related to Charlie at all, because I don't follow football. So I didn't even know that this had happened until it had happened. But I live 2 minutes away from my town's football club's ground. The Macclesfield Football Club's ground. This is literally around the corner. And so every Saturday for about 26 years, it's been incredibly loud around here because of football games. And so finding out that they were in whatever round it was of the FA Cup and that they beat last year's winners was a complete shock to me. And I was getting messages from friends telling me about what had gone on, and then I'm having to look into it because again, I know nothing about football, and I've been asking people what could happen because of this, colleagues and all that. But that isn't the happy moment. That was glorious for everyone. Apparently, you could hear people getting extremely happy about this in the football grounds in the
That's
park
lovely.
behind my house, which is 20 minutes away, really, if you're walking. That wasn't it. It was, the happiness comes from the sense of community that arose from that, and everyone having this unified happiness. And
That's so
you don't often
sweet.
hear these things about Macclesfield. Just to bring it down to a slightly sadder note, one of the people I used to work with at a different one of our shops was a huge supporter of the team. He was regularly there, and unfortunately he died last year. But I've been thinking about how thrilled and happy he would have been with this outcome, because he'd been a lifelong supporter of theirs, and they'd been kind enough when he died to put on this very nice post about him and thanking him for all his support throughout the years. It's been amazing to see the sense of community that this has garnered and how supportive people have been. And I hadn't really recognized it happening, but I was glad that that was something that had occurred
That's
due to this
wonderful,
club.
Charlie. I love that.
But that was it.
That's lovely.
Not
No, that's
happiness for
lovely.
me. Joy at
Quite,
seeing community, I suppose.
that's a nice thing, though. Community is so important. I love my community that I live in. I love it so much. So yeah, I definitely think that's a lovely thing to tell them. Congratulations, Macclesfield! Yay!
Yeah. I don't know what happens now. I have absolutely no idea what goes on with football at all, but well done them.
Yay! Cheering on Macclesfield. Yay! That's amazing. Let us know your happy moments in the comments wherever
Well,
you can
yeah.
comment,
Let us know your happy moments wherever you're able to.
or whatever you're reading.
Tell us about your wherever you're able to. Let us know your happy moments. Let us know what books you read for comfort. What are you currently reading? What are you getting up to? Do you have any film recommendations of upcoming book to movie adaptations? I think that's going to be an ongoing theme throughout the year.
That'd be wonderful. I'd love to shout those out at the beginning of every single week. All your recommendations. It'd be lovely to shout out some of your recommendations at the beginning of the pod. That could be a good segment to have in. So, yeah, give us all of those in the comments and let us know how you've been.
Yeah, and don't forget, we do have the Instagram, we have the Discord. If you want to contact It's a Charlie Thing at all, those are the places to find us.
Yes, follow us on the Instagram.
Yeah, so there we go. Are we done, Charlie?
I think we're done. Should we say goodbye to them?
Yeah, I'm going for a brew. Ta-da.
Goodbye.